Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. I am your host, Nash, and let's get into it. The nightmare that was Gameweek 18 is finally over yesterday, and thankfully, there's a quick turnaround, so we don't have to languish in it for like a week or an international break. It's tomorrow. We can put this right behind us very quickly. Never been so happy for a new game week to come up. I got a measly 34 points, while the average was 44. How did you guys do? So, what contributed to this week that was? Well, maybe my new 1-0 against Newcastle was the first sign. No Newcastle asset did anything worth talking about. He brought in Cunha for Fernandes, yellow card. And then Dogu scores. Who has him? Dalot with the assist. Like, what are we talking about? So your Voltemadas and everybody else, nothing. Then, of course, Man City they beat Nottingham Forest. And what do you have? Cherki and Reinders scoring. Haaland nowhere to be seen. And after his last week's haul, everybody was believing in him. So, Cherki was the man to have. He had a goal and an assist. Vardiol had another assist. No clean sheet. On the other end, Hugo Jesus and Hutchinson provided the attacking returns. So, then you go to Arsenal, and it seems like if you don't have Rice, it's like, what are you doing with yourself? Odegaard is the one who scores, and then there's an own goal. So, no clean sheet. Arsenal's good for clean sheets. That goes. If you have Brighton assets, no clean sheet on their end, and an Ayari-Gomez combination for the goal, so none of us really benefit. Then you go Brentford 4-1. You'd think Igor Thiago would be the man over here, but no, it's a Schade hat-trick. And you're just like, why? And then the goalkeeper for Bournemouth scores a very unfortunate own goal. At least Semenyo scores a weird, lucky-ish back heel. Then Burnley-Everton. At least here, if you kept your defense, that was the only good decision. Liverpool could not keep a clean sheet against Wolves. Ekitike, some people even triple captained him. He only managed an assist in this game. West Ham, we've been wanting Harry Wilson to do something. At least he had an assist, so we can't complain too much. Then Aston Villa, you bring on Mr. Rogers. He gets denied an assist. They still win 2-1. And out of nowhere, Watkins comes off the bench and scores 2 goals. And at this point, only dead teams are benefiting from Watkins. And then if you had Chelsea players, I know we've been doing this thing where you bring on João Pedro, he does nothing, you remove him, he scores. So if you're one of those people who've stuck with him, you are the only one. And Reece James, no clean sheet. Then you have Sunderland Leeds. At least Dominic Calvert-Lewin did the business. Then Crystal Palace cannot keep a clean sheet. Cannot. They're incapable right now. And then for whatever reason, Spurs kept a clean sheet. So that messed up a lot of our calculations. The marquee game of the week. So Manchester United take on Newcastle. And to be fair to Manchester United, this game could have really gone either way. It felt like Manchester United just took their chance and that was that. Newcastle could have been better and they hit the post, but it just wasn't meant to be. Dogu scored a nice volley off an assist from Dalot. And that's just how it ended. Dogu had the 3 bonus points. Martinez, Dalot, and Lamens all got 2. So it shows you how well the defense worked. When it comes to highest scoring game of the weekend, it's quite easy. Brentford 4, Bournemouth 1. Now, it seems like every season Schade pops in and out with a hat-trick and then he just disappears. So I know this is going to bring in many people thinking that now they've got on to Schade and he's going to score hat-tricks from here on. But it's just going to be like when Doku scored that that hat-trick that time. Was it last season or the one before? Don't be fooled. But if you want to be a gambler, why not? So, Bournemouth, goodness, they needed like 15 men in this game. They were horrible. It feels like all the things we said before the season are coming true now, where it looked like they don't know how to move forward, they don't know how to defend. It's like they need a goalkeeper and defenders. They looked terrible. Schade had a hat-trick, like I said. Petrovic had an own goal, which was unfortunate. And it really looked like it's like they were not prepared for this game. I really like Iraola because he seems prepared for most games. And then it's just a failure of execution. But in this one, it just seemed like they did not know what was happening. It's like Christmas was the day or two before, and then they were like, hey guys, there's a game. And they're like, what? There's a game? Okay, I guess let's just go. So Damsgaard, Yamaluk, and Igor Thiago had an assist. Schade had the 3 bonus points, Semenyo had 2, and Scott had 1. When it comes to disappointing games, there's no real disappointing game. There's only, I guess, a disappointing outcome in like the Man City game where Foden doesn't have an assist, they don't keep a clean sheet, and Haaland does nothing. That is like the worst outcome. Or if you're an Arsenal holder and they don't keep a clean sheet. Or if you're a Liverpool holder and you don't keep a clean sheet, those games were bittering. So, Fulham, Everton, Burnley, and Manchester United kept the only clean sheets of the weekend. When it comes to round points, Dubravka leads the way with 11 points. Lamens 9, Vicario 7, Pickford 6, and Leno 6. When it comes to defenders, Dogu 17, Dallo 13, Van de Ven 11, Spasted, Keane and Martinez 10. When it comes to midfield, you guessed it, Mr. Hattrick himself, Schade, Player of the Week, 20 points, Cherki 13, Gravenberg 11, Odegaard, Wirtz, Adingra, Gray, 10 points. When it comes to forwards, Watkins, 12 points, Raul Jimenez, 9, João Pedro, 8, Calvert-Lewin, 8, Igor Thiago and Ekitike, Igor Jesus, Richarlison, and Tolu, 5. Looking at some stats, Leeds scored the equalizer against Sunderland, and it was just the second goal this season where all 11 players touched the ball before it went in. The first one was Rion Gumoha's goal for Liverpool against Newcastle. I actually honestly thought he would play more. Gumoha, I thought he would play much more than he has. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has scored in 6 consecutive Premier League appearances for the first time in his career, this being a longer scoring streak than Harry Kane ever managed in the competition. Can you believe that? And this makes him the first Leeds player to do so since John McCall in the 1959-60 campaign. Across the last 3 Premier League seasons, Aston Villa have won more points from losing positions than any other Premier League side. 54 points. Talk about being resilient. That is some great mental fortitude. Ollie Watkins is the first player in the Premier League history to score the winning goal on 3 separate occasions at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. He did it in April 2023, September 2023, and now December 2023. I guess he just loves the game against Chelsea. Reece James has been relatively fit, and when he's fit, he is good. And he has been involved in 6 Premier League goals this season in 17 games. So that's 2 goals and 4 assists. And this is as many as he had in his previous 3 seasons, with 2 goals and 4 assists in 45 games. So if he continues to play, he will definitely be somebody good to have on your team. 4 of Arsenal's 6 last goals have been own goals. That's quite impressive. They've really forced errors. Anyway, and this is as many as across their previous 182 goals combined in all competitions. That's something. On his 17th appearance, and with his 21st shot in the competition, Florian Wirtz has finally scored his first Liverpool goal in the Premier League. And speaking of firsts, Saka has assisted a Premier League goal at the Emirates for the first time since November 23, 2024, ending a run of 14 home appearances without an assist. Honestly, if I knew this beforehand, he wouldn't have been in my team. Since the beginning of November, Cherki has assisted more goals, 7, than any other player in Europe's Big 5 leagues. That's impressive. I think Foden might have to sit out a bit. Sean Dyche has played against Pep 17 times, and he has not beaten him in any one of those, with a record of 2 draws and 15 defeats. This is a joint most one manager has faced another without ever winning, along with Steve Bruce against Alex Ferguson. This is quite a ridiculous stat. Manchester United beat Newcastle 1-0. This was the first time since 2022 in March that Manchester United won a game without Bruno Fernandes. They had lost the previous 5 games they played without him. A season high 592,000 bench boosts were used this game week, and many of them profited off having Dubravka on their bench. With an 11-point haul, he carried a lot of benches and many people benefited. The second person on the bench tended to be Van de Ven, Wilson, Gay, Cash, and Mukiele. Oh, Mukiele. That man has been on my bench. Let's not even talk about it. But yeah, 592,000 people, season high, used the bench boost and benefited from having Dubravka on their bench. It is also at this point that I will remind you that Game Week 19 is a final week you get to use your chips before they expire. So please, if you have any chips left, use them or you will lose them. Now, Ekitike was brought in by 1.6 million this week. He only delivered 5 points. And considering they were playing Wolves, that was a bit of a disappointing result. Rodgers was even worse than that. He was brought in by 1.1 million people, including yours truly, and he repaid us with giving us 1 point, even if I lost 4 points for him. Rice was brought in by 600,000 people. He delivered 5 points. Cunha, 600,000 people. He delivered 2 points. DCL, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, brought in by 520,000 people. He delivered 8 points. And I think I'll have to succumb to this and just say, let's run. Let's see if he can continue this run and bring him on. When it comes to DEFCON points, defensive contributions, Ayer from Brentford, got the most with 22 actions. Keane from Everton had 20 actions. Anderson from Forest had 20. Jones from Liverpool had 18. And rounding up the top 5 is Gomez from Wolves, who also had 18. And those were the top DEFCON earners this week. Haaland was the most selected player this week. He was also the most captained. The most vice-captained was Foden. The most brought-in player this week is Cunha. 278,000 have brought him in. Cherki, 274,000 have brought him in. Dogu, 214,000 have brought him in. I mean, at 4.1, that's not a bad call. Rodgers, 195,000 have brought him in. Dallo, 169,000 have brought him in. Players out, Bruno, 342,000 have removed him. Timber, that was also another disappointment from the Arsenal game. 300,000 have removed him. Cash, 188,000 have removed him. Eze, 140,000 removed him. Foden, 136,000 have removed him. I think I'll be adding to that tally myself. I really want to put Cherki on, but I know as soon as I do, Pep will do his rotation BS. But anyway, let's go. Him and Reece James are coming back. The highest points this week belong to FC Defhead. And this was like a perfect execution of a bench boost. Let me start with his bench. Dogu, 17. Dallo, 13. Watkins, 12. That's already more than my team got this whole week. His captain was Ekitike, who gave him 10. Thiago, 5. Schade, 20. Semenyo, 9. Rodgers, 1. Wilson, 5. Saka, 7. Cherki, 2. Frimpong, 5. Trufer, 1. Dubravka, 11. And Cells, who did not play, 0. That is a great use of a bench boost. I'm sure this guy has jumped with an average of like 44 points. It's always great when you can get 60 points above the average, you know? In our group, Kasongo Wantam Peter Kimani has 81 points, and that's our group leader. Mr. Kimani used his free hit, and it served him well. He had Pickford, who gave him 6, Frimpong, who gave him 5, Michael Keane, who gave him 10, Vardiol 8, Cherki 13, Wirtz 7, Cunha 2, Wirtz 10, Calvert-Lewin 8, Ekitike 10, Haaland 2, and that's how he got 81 points. The top 5, Nikola Mislanovic got 76 points. Derek Mwangi got 70 points. Eddie Olang got 69 points. Hector Orembo got 67 points. On the other end of the table, Boaz Ogala got 19 points. In goal, he had Raya, who gave him 2, Soler, who gave him 1, Saliba 2, Truffert 1, Konate 2, Bernardo Silva 2, Palmer 2, McGinn 1, Awoniyi 1, Krupi 1, Haaland 4. That was tough. But also this person hasn't changed their team, so that's what happens. Second from bottom is Nicolas Padier. I don't know how to say the last name. 23 points. And then you have Guan Kimko and Mark Yosh, who have 27 points. And then rounding up the top 5, or rather the bottom 5, Mark Mora and Edwin Joroge, who both have 28 points. When it comes to most points on the bench, Onyango Mandela is this week's leader. He had 34 points on the bench. So like I said earlier, bench boost really benefited people who had Dubravka, and he has Dubravka. So 11 points from Dubravka, 17 points from Dogo, so that's 28. Mukiele, 4 points. Merino, 2 points. That's a great bench. Just painful when it's a day like this. El Fleek is second with 33 points on the bench. Valardo Harris, 29 points on the bench. Jeffrey Jeremy, 27 points on the bench. Ashwin Lee and Control Alt Dele, 26 points on the bench. When it comes to the team with the most goal scorers, it belongs to Nikola Mislanovic, who had 5 different goals scored by his team. Alexander Mutune is the manager with the best midfield points this week, with 37 coming from the midfield. Derek Mwangi had the best defense with 39 points coming from his defense. Mike Mbugwa made the most transfers this week, making 12. Don Clinton made 7. Stephen Chiari made 5, along with Mistaken. And then rounding up the 5 is Kiggs, Johnny Watson, Onyango Mandela, and TK, who made 4 transfers each. Peter Dennis had the best transfer outcome. His team got 41 more points from the moves he made than had he just left his team. In second place is Peter Kimani, 34 points. Melvin Keter in third with 33. Alexander Mutune with 22. And Hector Orembo with 22 as well. When it comes to disappointing transfer outcomes, Mike Mbugwa made 12 transfers and he was 44 points worse for it. Onyango Mandela was 21 points worse for the decisions made. Caleb Omondi, 16 points worse off. Panyako Nyerere, 15 points worse off. Oti Omondi, 11 points worse off. Collins Kogi continues to have the team with the greatest value. His team is valued at 106.3. On the other end, Olang's All-Stars, managed by Eddie Olang, his team is valued at 97 million. That's tough. When it comes to highest change in team value, Low-Key Wakudumu have increased their team value by 0.9. Stephen Chiari, on the other hand, has seen his team value drop by 1 million. Schade was a differential pick this week, and 3 managers in our group had him. And so he was the most popular differential in our group this week. Dogu was second, Dalo was third, and Cherki was fourth. When it comes to overall rank riser, Kasongo Wantam Peter Kimani, who had 81 points, has jumped globally 1.2 million positions. Michael Miner has the opposite fortune of dropping 600,000 positions globally. When it comes to a streak of green arrows, Madman Bielsa and Vic Nyadimo have seen their teams have green arrows for 6 weeks in a row. Keep it up. On the other end, Mark Maurer at the bottom has seen his team get red arrows for the 6th week in a row. Now, when it comes to our league rank rising, Peter Kimani has jumped 35 positions. Well done. On the other end, Mr. Manager Nathan Riak and Wilson Ding have dropped 15 positions this week. When it comes to captain choices, Haaland was the most popular captain choice this week, with 133 people choosing him. When it comes to second place, Ekitike was the second most popular captain in our group, with 28 managers choosing him. Saka was third, with 5 managers choosing him. Foden was chosen by 3. Salah chosen by 3. Palmer chosen by 3. Wood chosen by 2. Mateta chosen by 2. Voltemada, Gyökeres, Bowen, Hudson-Odoi, Grealish, Gakpo, Wirtz, Raul Jimenez, João Pedro, Mbumo, Semenyo, Watkins, Cash, Odegaard, and Gabriel, each chosen by one manager only. And please notice that even in dead teams, nobody left Schade as captain. When it comes to our league table, Arnold Midunga is still reigning at the top with 1150 points. And second place, we have Alan Mushangi, who has 1139 points. King Kev 17 is the new number 3 with 1133 points. Amos Langat, 1127 points. Charles Cadavillis, 1124 points. Jeffrey Jeremy, 1122 points. Franklin Asiema, number 7, 1121 points. Jayaram Prajapati, number 8, 1110 points. Leon Mortia Konsi Konsa, 1106 points. And number 10, Madagani Kihoro has really dropped, 1105 points. So from 1150 to 1050, that would take you to number 25. So if you're within that range, you're just 100 points. So at game week or 2, and you're right there. For the rest of us, we need maybe 2 or 3 game weeks to really change something. Don't give up. There's still a bunch of weeks left to go. At the bottom of the table, there is no change to the bottom 5. Mark Maurer is bottom with 321 points. Don Clinton is second from bottom with 550 points. Mike's team, Mike Mbogwa, 660 points. Team Odera, 693 points. And Murunga Imanyara, 706 points. In fact, the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the bottom 9 have not changed over the last game week. It's tough. Number 1 in the world is Matt C's 5'3s. This is Matt Chamberlain, who has 1283 points. And his team, he has Raya in goal with 2. Hinkapie, 1. He got 53 points this week. Tarkowski, 8. Keane, 10. O'Reilly, 1. Saka, 7. Foden, 2. Rogers, 1. Semenyo, 9. Captain Haaland, 4. Calvert-Lewin, 8. So it was a tough day at the office, even for number 1 in the world. Like I said earlier on, it's a quick turnaround, so we can forget about today and look forward to tomorrow. So tomorrow is Tuesday, today is Monday the 29th, and we have the games. We'll kick off, they're all late games, they're all at night. It kicks off with Burnley versus Newcastle, and in that game, maybe if you have your Voltemada, you have your Harvey Barnes and Gordon, that would be great. On Burnley's end, if you still have Dubravka, keep him on the bench still. I believe they will concede. Chelsea versus Bournemouth, 2 teams with an unenviable recent form. Chelsea were beaten by Aston Villa and Bournemouth were hammered 4-1. So both teams will be looking to do better. On the Chelsea end, if you still believe in João Pedro, he will be the man, Rhys James and Neto. On the other end, Scott, Semenyo, and that's it. Nottingham Forest versus Everton. This is the kind of game which you hope will be 0-0. And if you believe so, Tarkowski, Keane, and Pickford will be your guys because Everton don't have much going forward right now. On the Forest end, you have Hutchinson, Hudson-Odoi, and Igor Jesus. West Ham versus Brighton. This is actually a game that both teams could be hoping to get something from. West Ham were beaten last time out, and Brighton were also beaten last time out. Bowen, Mateus Fernandes, and maybe Souček would be your best bets. Brighton, I would say Diego Gomez, maybe Minte, and maybe Jorginho Ruta. Arsenal versus Aston Villa. This will be a really good game to see. Now, unfortunately, Aston Villa have a bunch of people suspended, and therefore Arsenal will have a chance to really take revenge. But if they're able to overcome that difference, Aston Villa, the team in form, this would be a good game to have them. I wouldn't encourage you to have Arsenal defenders. Saka just had his first assist, so maybe him and then Odegaard and Rice. That's how I would recommend them. And then on the other end, it's still Rodgers, and Watkins. And maybe Tielemans. Man United versus Wolves. Maybe it's time to get a Man United defender. Hello, Dogu. Anyway, they should be favored for this game. If you're getting Wolves players, just get Tolu. He's the only one who seems to be trying at this point in time. Man United, honestly, Dogu, Dalo, and maybe Cunha. Let's see if we can do something against his former team. Crystal Palace take on Fulham in the new year on the 1st of January. Crystal Palace have not been great of late. It's like they're reversing their form. They usually finish the season strong, but it seems like they started the season strong and it looks like they're fading. Now, Mateta, Gay, and Wharton. Although at this point, if you don't have Crystal Palace players, don't get them. Let them turn their form and then bring their players back. On the Fulham end, they've been solid a bit. Wilson and Jimenez are their best players right now. Liverpool versus Leeds. I can honestly see the DCL scoring. Why wouldn't he score? And then maybe Aronson and Stark. Liverpool, Ekitike still, Florian Wirtz, and maybe Frimpong. If you're looking at Brentford versus Spurs, Schade, Igor Thiago, and Damsgaard. Spurs, I would say Richarlison, Van de Ven since he performed. Sunderland versus Manchester City. Sunderland were humbled last time out, and I believe a return humbling is due. And so I believe they will still be beaten. I wouldn't encourage you to have Sunderland players. I would still encourage you to have Haaland, Cherki, Foden. And then a defender if you believe that they will need that. When it comes to captain choices, Newcastle versus Burnley, Voltemada isn't a bad shout out. Chelsea versus Bournemouth, honestly, Reece James isn't a bad call. Or Semenyo. Semenyo scored, I think, 2 or 3 in a row now. Everton versus Forest. If you want to gamble with Tarkowski or Keane, you wouldn't be blamed. On the other end, Igor Jesus wouldn't be a bad shout, but I wouldn't take him. West Ham versus Brighton. I would say maybe Bowen would be a good call. Arsenal versus Aston Villa, Watkins, Rodgers, Saka. Man United versus Wolves, I think a defender, maybe Dorgu Odalo. Fulham versus Crystal Palace, just don't captain the defender. If you want to gamble with Harry Wilson, fine. Jimenez, fine. Mateta, fine. Liverpool versus Leeds, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or Mr. Ekitike. Spurs versus Brentford, if you believe Schade is going to do it again, have him. If not, Igor Thiago. On the other end, Richarlison. Sunderland versus Manchester City. Honestly, if you go for Foden, who did well in the reverse fixture, Haaland or Cherki, those would be great captain choices. And with that, we have come to the end of our podcast. I will make them longer when we have more time. Until then, see you tomorrow. And I hope you pass the new year well, and we will talk again next year. Happy New Year, happy holidays. Bye.